For today's tutorial, we're going to retouch a creative image again from A to Z. I'm going to show you guys all my steps, all my techniques, and let's go get this bad boy. Okay. Alright, so I've imported already my file into Photoshop. As you guys can see, here's my original shot straight out of the camera. Then first step that I want to do now is basically just crop this. So I'm going to press C on my keyboard and just crop this a little bit down here, somewhere over here. Okay, and on the side everything is good. I'm going to accept this and first of all have a new cropped version here. I'm going to press Z for the zoom tool. Okay, and now we're going to start working off on our file. First step that I want to do is basically copy my original file. So I can retouch on here and basically just do all the simple retouching just on here. So I'm also going to rename this now to retouch. Okay, and our first step is again with J, healing brush tool. I'm going to make the healing brush tool a little bit smaller. And first of all, just on the current layer as well here at the top, just going to retouch out all these little pimples and spots that I want to take out. I'm also going to hold Control Alt and make my brush completely feathered almost. Okay, and a little bit smaller as well. I'm going to hold Alt, sample an area, and just brush over here and just sample out quickly a few simple areas here just to clean the skin a little bit. Okay, I'm also making my brush a little bit smaller as well. And literally just go through the image, retouch all the pimples here. Okay, hold Alt, sample an area, and copy. Hold Alt, sample. And as you guys can see, I'm sampling quite a lot already. A few areas. Okay, so close by, I'm not sampling from far away, just literally from the same spot. Just over the textures here. Okay. A little bit further, also a little bit these lines here. I don't want to take out too much of his features, just literally the pimples. Some spots that I can see that look not too nice. Okay, and a little bit over here, also on the nose a bit. Okay, a bit more over here. Okay, that we're also going to tackle right now. Also a little bit over here. Okay, and we're going to take out this little hair here. Okay, let's go up a little bit to the top. Oops, let's just hold spacebar and we're going to move back to the top. Hold Alt again, sample an area. And we're literally just going to clean up all of this. Okay, a little bit further. More up here as well. Taking all these little pimples out. And hold Alt, sample an area. And just with the healing brush tool, I'm sampling all these areas. A little bit of these lines here. Okay. And a little bit down here as well. Still on the same layer. Okay, and a little bit here on the side as well. Okay, going down. Going to take out this as well. Okay, let's also go down here. We're going to fix up the glasses a bit. Just a few simple areas and spots. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. Have a look here. Before and after. So that's our before and after, before and after. Let's also go zoom in a little bit closer over here. Do want to take out this a little bit. So for that, I'm going to take my clone stamp tool. And we're also going to press Control Alt. Have it completely hard. So no soft feathered edge. Hardness 100%. I'm going to make my brush a bit smaller. And I'll hold Alt and sample exactly the area here from the top. And I just want to go over this a little bit. And from the bottom, a little bit back up. Okay, that didn't work too good. Press Command Z, go step back. And we're copying a bit from the top here. And brushing that in. And a little bit more from the bottom. And again from the top. Just a little bit. Okay, like that. I'm going to press J again for the healing brush tool. And literally just fade in this edge a little bit. Okay, sample these areas a little bit. Clean up this edge a bit. Okay, then as well, have a look once more through our image. We can still see some spots down here, a little bit of hairs and a bit of necklines. I'm going to take these out. Sample again. I'm going to go step back, Command Z. Or if you want, you can also go here on the history panel. We can just activate the history panel. I can go a few steps back there as well. Okay, I'm going to go down here and just remove a few of these necklines as well over here. And this you don't need to do always. It sometimes suits the image just a little bit better if you do portrait, and it looks a bit nice. Okay, on the lip a little bit, here a bit more. So it's just literally me going through some of the areas. I'm just going to go back to healing brush. Okay, a few more spots that I can see. Okay, so that's basically all. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Just have a look here on the hand. I'm going to take out this spot over here. That we will still have to fix in a minute. This little arm over here also pointing out already. Okay, so that's already our first step, just for cleaning up the skin a little bit. So let's also select this again, before and after, before and after. Okay, next step that I want to do is also fix, first of all, the liquefying on the skin, on the face. So what I'm going to do is take the same layer here, the retouch layer, and take that into the liquefying tool. So I'm going to go to filter, and we're going to go to liquefy all the way here to the top, and liquefy loads. Okay, and now I don't want to reshape the complete face and create a new person. I just want to structure things a little bit nicer and give his facial optimization and facial expressions just the nicer features. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here. At the bottom we can zoom in, so a little bit further, and another tap. I just want to give the bones and everything a nice structure. So my brush at the moment is quite too big on the right hand side. I can change my brush size again, make it around half the size. It's a bit too small, so I normally change my brush size, go back in, have a look, and around 200, that's good for me at the moment. Okay, so first of all what I want to do is just structure this chin in a little bit, taking that up a bit. So I'm just tapping, and as well tap over here. Okay, giving that, and take this one out a bit. Push this side in. This side looks a bit weird. I think I'm going to retouch this a little bit still. Push his lips a little bit down, and a little bit up. Okay, and that looks a bit more equal on both sides as well here at the top with the hand, and that looks all good. I'm going to zoom out one step again, and I'm also going to readjust the nose a little bit. So I'm going to make my brush size a bit bigger, and simply just one tap and another tap, and from the left side as well, tap, and the nose up a little bit. Going to make my brush size a little bit smaller again, and I'm not working with the center here, more from the bottom here, pushing up. Another tap as well. Watch out for the lips. Going to push the lips up a little bit. Okay, nose as well. Again, a few from the sides. Just pushing in all these little areas here. Okay, still a little bit down here. Pushing that up a bit. Bringing that in a bit. Okay, just structured now left and right a little bit. And overall the chin. Just a bit more down here. A little bit the lips. That's good already. So I'm done with that. Just the normal liquefying on the person itself. Gonna hit OK here. Okay, Photoshop rendered that for us, or the filter has worked, and we can have a look here again, our before and after. Before and after. So just making this a little bit more nicer overall. So again, before and after, before and after. Okay, I'm going to zoom a little bit closer here and just retouch this side a little bit. So what I'm actually going to do is take my pen tool over here, just going to press P for the pen tool, and I'm just going to touch out a little bit of this side here. So basically just going to copy this complete area here, make a nice path around this, right click, make a selection, 0 feathering please, and OK. Now we have a selection around this. Going to press Command Z and Command V to duplicate and paste that, and I'm also going to now flip this over. So I'm going to go back here to Edit, Transform, and we're going to say Flip Horizontally. Okay, that has been flipped, and we can now move this over to the left hand side here. I'm going to take down the opacity a little bit just to see when it merges in. The reason why I'm doing this as well is now I do want to have this nice side over here from his facial structure and just build it in a little bit better here so it looks a little bit nicer from the side. Okay, I'm going to take it all the way over here, and it kind of suits the image already, and I don't need to reshape too much. Leave it like that, a little bit out. I'm going to also go back into edit. I'm going to go to transform and warp, so I can just warp these areas a little bit better. So I'm going to press command to individually take these anchor points here and just warp them out a little bit. Warp this in. Okay, now I took it the complete image, so just an anchor point over here. Just an anchor point over here a little bit. Still releasing shift again, so it's not affecting that side corner there. Okay, we don't even need to hold shift, that's fine. Like this, okay, and I'm pretty happy with that. Going to accept that. 100% opacity for that. And I'm now also going to hold a mask here. And we're going to now brush this in. So 100% opacity on this mask, black foreground color with around, let's start with 50% opacity. Okay, I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller again, and we're literally just going to brush away these areas over here at the bottom as well. We don't want to add that, so I'm going to brush a few times over this, and then slowly here just over the cheeks. I'm going to also take the opacity up again to 80%, do a little bit more rougher, so we get this nice feature here. Okay, and we're going to zoom out a little bit, and that looks a bit nicer already. Let's try if we take the opacity down a bit so it blends a little bit nicer in. Okay, say somewhere around 80-75%, and that looks good to me, just adding a bit of that nicer touch to that. Okay, so that's first step just for retouching and just for fixing the skin a little bit here. Now what I'm also going to do is first of all do just a little bit of selective dodge and burning here just for the skin. So I'm going to hold Alt, go to the new layer icon, hold Alt still, and create just a new layer. First of all, I'm going to write here just skin. Okay, and now what we're going to do is select our mode down to soft light, so we can literally now work on the tones here on the skin. Okay, I'm going to hit OK, and we have a new layer here, skin, and we're going to go work with our white and black foreground color now in a way of dodge and burning. So we're going to use with X, swap back to white. And we're now going to work just a little bit here on the skin, brighten some areas. But for me, it's a little bit easier if I'm zoomed out a little bit. So over here, all these little areas. Before I also continue with that, I firstly want to go to my adjustments and just create a levels layer. And this is actually my dirty layer. So I'm going to write here dirty. And I'm going to make the midtones just a bit darker. Okay, like that. So I can just see a little bit more the tones here from the skin. Okay, that I will still delete once I'm done. I'm going to go back to skin again and change to my white foreground color. Take the brush again, Control Alt together, move left and right. I want 0 hardness, and my diameter that I will change via my Wacom Intuos 5 board. For you who don't have the board, you can go up here to the top and also change the size on the left side. Okay, I'm going to take my opacity all the way down to just around 5%, 6%. Okay. Let's zoom a little bit closer here. Press B for the brush, and I'm going to make my brush super small and just simply brush a little bit over here, these little dark areas, just to brighten those. And it's a little bit too big, my brush. Make it a little bit smaller, and I'm literally just brushing a few times over this. Make it a bit bigger again, and just tap, tap. Slowly. I'm going to zoom a little bit closer. B for the brush again, and on this layer, just painting in a little bit these dark spots. Okay, a little bit further over here, just a bit more. Just giving the tones a bit more of an even touch here. I should spend way more time doing this if you do it on a proper beauty retouch. This is just me creating a little bit of a nicer portrait now, so it's not really a high-end beauty retouch. Okay, watch out, go a little bit back, so just tap, tap, tap a few more times. Okay, and down here as well, brightening that as well. I'm going to go down a little bit and just here's some areas that I still want to take out a bit. Okay, as well down here. And now I'm looking just for all the dark spots, just to brighten them a little bit. Okay, and so far it looks good. I'm just happy with this. Okay, gonna zoom out a little bit again, and we can now also delete or blend off our layer here that we had before. So let's have a look. That's before and after, before and after. We're still gonna add a nice pop on that, so don't worry too much about the skin now. It's just fixing a bit of these tones in here. Okay, we can delete our dirt layer again. I'm zooming out a bit, and I still want to fix also this arm over here. We have a little bit of light that is spilling here, and I want to get rid of that. So the easiest way for me, instead of just trying to copy everything here, I'm going to copy a little bit from this side, from the arm, and just put it over here. Okay, so for that, again, move over here. I'm going to actually take now my pen tool again, and we're just literally going to create a rough path around here. Okay, and we have a new path. Press right click, make a selection again, zero feathering once more, and I want to say OK. Now we have a selection, but first of all we need to choose the right layer. So I'm going to go back to Retouch and select it from the Retouch. So Command Z, Command V, duplicate paste that, move that all the way to the top here, double tick, and I'm just going to write here arm. Okay. Then as well, I'm also going to flip this once more, edit, transform, flip horizontally, so it's on the left hand side, usable, move it over a little bit, and also we're going to take the opacity down so we can move this a little bit around. Okay, a little bit over here, press Command T, we can rotate this a little bit. Okay, and I'm still having a look, where can I put this in nicely? Somewhere over here. Okay, and that's actually good enough for me already. A little bit, turning a little bit more, accept that. I'm going to take the opacity all the way up to 100% again, and also now going to create a hidden mask on this. So basically just completely hide all of this with holding Alt and selecting the mask icon down here. So we have a new hidden mask layer now. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, take B, my brush. Also now changing my settings completely again, opacity all the way up to say around 80%, there we go. And then as well I'm going to choose a different foreground color, so white. And also I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger, so simply I can just see when I'm brushing in here. Okay, and now I'm just literally brushing over here over the arm, bringing in a new skin here, just a little bit more down here. As you guys can see here, the skin is not that good. Okay, and now I want to soften this edge a little bit, so I'm going to take the opacity down, just say to 30%, and just literally make my brush a bit bigger, but slowly fade this in, slowly brush this in. And another tap, a little bit more. Okay, and now also blending these two different skin tones here a little bit better. Okay, so a little bit more from that. Also switching foreground colors, I want to remove a little bit. Still on the 30% opacity. That's actually a bit better. Okay, swap foreground colors again with X. Just painting this a little bit. Okay, and now I do want to fix this here at the bottom. So press B for the brush again, 100% opacity. Make this a bit smaller. And I'm just brushing the old arm back. So over here like that. Okay. And swap X again, foreground colors, change my opacity back to around say 50%, make it a little bit smaller, and just literally brush over here, fixing that area. Okay, and again switch foreground colors, brush that, switch again. Okay, that is not working at all. So what I'm going to do is take now this layer here in the front, and we're going to warp it a little bit. So not the mask, you have to take your normal layer. Okay, I'm going to go back to edit, but before I do that, also I'm going to select the mask and just disable the mask. So disable that whole layer so we can actually see what's happening here again. I'm also going to take the opacity down, and I want to fix this little edge here. With just brushing, that doesn't work, so I need to structure it. I need to drag this original layer here, so also again select the layer, need to drag that out a little bit. So I'm going to go back to edit, transform and warp once again, taking this anchor point over here, or maybe this anchor point down here, and just drag this a little bit. Okay, taking the bottom one as well, that's actually even better, and just dragging it a little bit over, and that's actually good for me over here. Okay, accept that. That will be rendered for us, and we can now say mask here, enable the layer mask again, and we can now just fix these areas again on the mask. So again, the brush, 100% opacity. Now we are brushing in, so X, black, we can patch that out. Okay, and just fix this very easily. Okay, and there we go. There it looks way, way better now. Okay, and let's also go a little bit to the top here. Let's have a look. We still need to fix this area a little bit. Okay, so on the mask again, B with the brush. I'm going to take 80% opacity and literally X again, so white foreground color. Just brushing that in a little bit. Okay, and as well, my opacity here is still set to 50, so that's why let's take it all the way up, 100%. Okay, switch foreground colors. And I'm going to use here just a 30% opacity again. Okay, and just slowly tap, tap, tap. Brush this in a little bit better. Okay, so zoom out again. That's again our before and after here. Before and after, before and after. Okay, with Z again, I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. Next step that I also want to do now is just take the arm, the skin, and as well retouched layers here. Take all of them with Shift, press Command G, put that to another total new group here, and call that retouch. Okay, so that's our first stage just of retouching the sky a little bit better. So again, our before and after, before and after. Okay, so next step that I want to do is just add a little bit of curves here, and also just brighten this up a little bit and give it a bit of a pop. So I'm just going to take the highlight sliders from the curve here from the top and literally just going to brighten this image just a little bit, just giving it a nice pop. Just in the highlights. As you guys can see already, it pops already a little bit more. So not too much, just a little bit. But just literally with my highlights. Okay, happy with that. Next step that I still want to do is also create 2 new layers just for dodging and burning. So now what we're going to do is go back to the new layer icon down here, create a new layer, press Command A and select the complete canvas here with a selection. Press right click, or first of all go to the marking tool, press right click and say fill this layer with again 50% gray. So down here in our contents area under use, we're not going to select color, we're going to say 50% gray. Okay that, and we already have our first stage for the dodge and burning process. Command D, get out of the selection. Now what I'm going to do is just write, or actually press Command J, duplicate that, and we're going to write here hard. So it's our hard layer. Double click on the second layer and we're going to write soft, and it's our soft layer. Take both of the layers, Command G, put it in a new group, D and B for dodge and burn. Open this again, and I'm going to take the hard layer and move that first of all to overlay, so it's a blending option a little bit harder, and the soft one to soft light. So on the hard layer we're going to work a little bit more on the intenser parts and on small special features, and on the soft we're going to work overall on our image. So let's start with the hard one. First of all, again zoom in. If you're not familiar with the dodge and burn process, please also have a look on my tutorial channel. There's a few tutorials where I show how to work with just dodge and burn process and different dodge and burn processes. Okay, so I've selected now black foreground color for me to burn first of all. I'm also going to take my opacity all the way down to just 7%. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. And first of all, just here with B with the brush, Control Alt again, hold together. Have a look how feathered. Now my brush is completely hard. I want to go up. To feather it completely, hardness must be 0. Okay, also changing the brush size again, and first of all I'm just going to burn a little bit here on his eyebrows and on the right hand side as well, making this a little bit smaller. Now I don't want to burn too much, actually went a step too quick here, Command Z, go step back. Okay, and now I do want to just brush in these little areas here and just burn these little areas around the lips, giving him a little bit of the features here as well around here. I'm going to turn the layer back to normal in a moment so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. In here, burn once, burn twice, and I'm going to go a little bit over his hair, burn these areas as well a little bit. Okay, and in here, burn, burn, burn. If you want that a little bit too stronger, then I can actually burn that a bit more. But I'm so far happy with this. Okay, I'm going to burn this shadow a bit here, and also these shadows just a bit. Now I'm also going to burn a little bit on the glasses itself, just to make them a little bit darker. On the right hand side as well. Okay, and we're going to go also in these little edges down here. So I'm going to burn in here, all the way around here. And I'm actually going to create a complete new layer, just an empty layer, just to show you guys quickly what I'm actually doing with the dodge and burn. So also changing my foreground colors quickly to red, 100% opacity for that brush. So basically on the hard layer, I'm literally going around here and around here, burning then as well a little bit of this in here, giving the lips a little bit of a structure here. So I'm just painting this really quickly now over here and a little bit down here. Obviously eyebrows a little bit, just a little bit all of these features. Then we did a little bit of the hair here. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. I also did a bit here on the glasses now, burn that a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is just burn these areas just a bit. Okay, so turn off that layer again. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. B for the brush. Switch with D back to black and white here for your foreground colors. And I'm going to press on the keyboard 07, so that switches back to just 7%. B for the brush, and obviously select your hard layer. And now I can literally just go back in here and darken again just this little area down here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is switch back to the soft layer. And in the soft layer I'm going to work a little bit more roughly. So first of all, do the dodging. So I'm going to switch back to white with X, and I'm going to just make his nose a little bit brighter here. Also his forehead, just a little bit of a bigger patch, brightening all of this. Then as well the cheeks here, giving those a nice touch, and just brightening the highlights a little bit. I'm also going to give the chin down here a bit of a pop. So just with a few touches here, just a bit of a spot in there. Also going to brighten just the lips a little bit. And down here, just the necklines a bit. Also switching back to the hard layer, and also want to now just brighten the lips a little bit, just to give it a nice pop here, and the highlights. Okay, that was a step too quick, so I'm going to go back to history. Just switch back again, slowly. Just brushing that in. And over here, just giving that a bit of a pop. Bit on the sides, so it bleeds in a little bit better with the background as well. Okay, a little bit here on the glasses. Just giving those a nice pop here with all the highlights. Okay, a little bit here from the top. And a nice big spot here on the forehead. Giving that a nice touch again. Okay, so that's basically all just for the person's face already. So as you guys can see, here's the before and after, before and after. And I'm doing this really quick now. I am normally doing this a bit slower. Zoom in a bit closer over here. I'm also going to go back to the soft layer now. B for the brush again. And I'm just going to brighten a little bit here, some areas on the hands and on the finger. A little bit, giving this a little bit of a glow here on the arm. Okay, in the center a little bit smaller. Okay, and swap foreground colors, and literally just going to darken the edges a bit. Make my brush a little bit bigger, and just painting with the outside of the brush. Okay, going to the other arm, doing exactly the same effect again. Okay, as well a bit over here. Swap foreground colors again with X, and just brighten that a little bit. Also over here, make my brush a bit smaller. And now I can spend some more time and just go a little bit in here and burn all these little areas. But I don't want to do that too much. Rather going to pay a little bit more attention here on that arm that we actually copied here. Okay, and do that. Okay, so that's again just a step here just for the skin. Now I'm also going to go back on the hard layer here and work a little bit just on the clothing. So again, B for brush, X foreground color, switch back to black. So we can actually burn now, and I'm burning just a little bit here, some edges on him, and also giving the blues a nice touch. Okay, a little bit here in those little wrinkle areas, a little bit over here, not too much. Okay, also on the tie, I don't want to be too rough here on the grey shirt. On grey you can see it very hard, so just a bit in here on the edges again. And it would have been nice if the tie is really straight and everything. This is more or less like a random shot that I had, so that's why I also work on this now. Normally on a shoot this would be better if this would be styled and perfectly straight and would look really nice. Okay, so just burning these edges here. Swap back with X, white foreground color, and I'm now just brightening some areas again, giving that tie a bit of a pop here, making the brush a bit bigger and just a bit of shape. It's already so white and the highlights pop really nice, so I don't want to do it too much here. Okay, a little bit to the right hand side, have a look here on the elbows, that looks all good. Okay, brightening just a bit these edges still, these wrinkles here. Okay, let's zoom out again. On the cap I could still work a little bit on that, so B for the brush again and just giving those highlights here a nice pop, still on the hard layer, branding as well, and then just the side of the cap. Okay, so that's basically all. Zooming out again. And let's have a look now quickly our before and after here from our dodge and burn layer. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger here actually. So again, this is our before and after, before and after. Okay, let's also disable the rest so we can actually see what we dodged and burned, and here you guys can see it pretty good now where I dodged and burned, and as well on the hard layer and soft layer as well. So let's open this. So this is hard layer, literally just on here, and this is the soft layer just on the skin and some smaller elements again. And I'm doing this really rough now. I normally spend a bit more time working with my brush slowly. This is very patchy here. Okay, on the hard layer and switch on the rest. Okay, so that's basically all for dodge and burn and retouch. Now what we're going to do is still add a bit of a nice color pop to this. So for that, as I showed you weeks ago how I did my NYX software Color FX Pro 4 stuff, this is what I do as well now over here. So I'm going to press Command, Alt, Shift and E, master shortcut. I'm just going to write here a master quickly, master. And now I'm also going to go back to filter. We're going to go back into NYX software Color FX Pro 4, and we're going to add a little bit of an inky touch to this. Okay, so in Color FX Pro 4, I'm going to go back all the way to my preset that I really love, and that's called Ink over here. And Ink preset looks already way too hard and yellowish and kind of weird, which I don't really like at the moment. So what I'm going to do is first of all set my normal color that I want, and I'm going to take the opacity or the strength basically all the way down just to between, I normally work between 5 to 15%, so maybe let's try 10%. Okay, that boosts the saturation as well. I'm not going to work too much with my highlights. I want the highlights to pop like this. Shadows as well. I'm going to try the shadows. Well, it's brightening it up a little bit and giving a bit of a flat one again. Maybe taking the shadows to say 10% so they're not that contrasty. Okay, and that's basically all. I don't want to adjust anything more. I'm going to say OK here, and that has been rendered now for us. Okay, so on a complete new layer, as you guys can already see, there's quite a pop already. So this is again the before and after, before and after. Boom, quite a intense pop just on the brightness levels and everything. So this is a really nice plugin as well to work with. You can also achieve this kind of look if you don't have the plugin. You can go to adjustments and first of all work just with selective colors and just work in your neutral tones. Let me make this just a bit bigger here. So you can go all the way up here to your color presets. You go to the neutrals, and then you push your neutrals a little bit so you get a little bit of a magentas here. That's basically what the plugin is as well, doing a bit more magentas in the whole image. But as well, you also have to take another levels, or actually another curves adjustments here, to just give this a nice bright pop as we did here earlier. So if you don't have the plugin, try another curves levels adjustment layer, and as well as selective color just for the color. Okay, so that's basically what I'm doing now, just here in normal ink, more magenta. Now the reds are quite saturated, and I'm just going to go back to another adjustments or hue and saturation adjustments layer here. Go back into the red channels and just take the reds down a little bit and just desaturate just these reds here a little bit. So as you guys can see, taking them to -8 before and after again, so just desaturate that a bit. Okay, so that's basically all for that. I'm going to delete layer 2 as well, and also take these last 3 layers here, Command G again, and right here just pop, and that's basically my pop and color. Now I'm going to press Command Alt Shift and E again, master shortcut, and that's basically already my final layer. So a very simple retouch today, showing you guys just from A to Z, from how to get from this image to an image that looks like this. It might be still a bit too heavy. So what we can actually do is delete the final again, go back to pop, and take this ink layer that we actually have over here from the plugin, like I normally do, take the opacity as well down, say to 70% somewhere, so it's not that extreme, but still giving us that nice pop. Maybe a little bit further, 65% before and after, before and after. Still keeping our hue and saturation for the reds. Okay, go back to minimize pop, Command Alt Shift E, master shortcut, and there we have our new layer here, final again. So again, just a few simple steps from this image, our before and after. So that is basically all for today's Photoshop tutorial. Do let me know in the comments down below what you think about this tutorial, if you found it handy, etc. Then as well, hit us up with a like, support us, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next week for a new tutorial. Bye bye!